welcome you on the next presentation, our next talk on the Python Summit online day. In front of us, we have another presentation from the Python ecosystem, but this time from the Python itself. So Mateusz and Krzysztof will tell us a bit more or introduce us into the funny and easy way and efficient, basically, way to write CLIs in Python. So to have some fun or to improve our daily job, I think it's worth listening. The stage is yours.
Thanks. Natalia, could you please mute yourself? Thanks. Okay, Mateusz.
Okay, yeah. Thanks for the introduction. So as we mentioned, we'll be talking about building Python CLIs in 2024. Does not have to be painful, featuring Typer and UV. And to be fair, it was a bit of a clickbait because it's not actually that of a hassle anyway, but it can be nicer. We can make it really nice. I'd like to show you some ways how to do it. But first, we'd like to introduce ourselves. So I'm Mateusz Zaremba. I'm application architect at Orsted, and with me is Krzysiek or Krzysztof.
Hi, I'm Krzysiek. You can call me Chris. It's the same name with just a Polish weird pronunciation. And I'm a DevOps engineer at Amazon Web Services, AWS. And today, it's our pleasure to talk about building and delivering CLIs in Python. And basically our story here is that we worked together quite a lot with Mateusz. We've built a lot of internal tools for back when we both worked in AWS. And we discovered that there are some problems that are kind of happening all of the time. We are writing kind of similar code. We have to make sure that our CLIs are compatible looking similarly. And we thought to ourselves, yeah, there must be a better way to do that, right? There must be some higher level modules that do this heavy lifting for us so we can actually focus on writing our application. And yeah, there are. So basically this entire presentation came out of our side project, a funny little side project that we made to learn those tools. So the best way to learn the new technology is, of course, to abandon the current project and just start a new side project. And when you're halfway done, abandon it. So that's exactly what we are presenting today. Our key takeaways, our learnings from this journey, how to build better CLIs and how to deliver them to our end customer in a more reliable way. So we are introducing Mimer, a CLI tool, because of course CLI is the best interface for your users to create all of your memes. And we'd like to give a shout out to the original Mimer, which is a completely different tool, but generally the name was taken. We discovered it recently and we are waiting right now for a lawsuit. We hope it doesn't happen, but yeah, let's continue.
He was first.
He was first. So when you build CLIs, before we jump into the code, into the demos and how to integrate all of it together, what do we need to think about? First of all, if you build with Python, you need to think about Python itself because the syntax changes. You need to make sure that all of your developers and also all of your users have installed and run Python in the correct version. You need to think how to install it because depending on the platform, the installation looks differently. On Windows, even you can install it as an admin or just as a user, and it will behave differently. You have to think about installing your CLI and distributing it. How do you deliver your package to the end customer, right? How to make sure that all of your dependencies inside of your application, whether they are external dependencies, external modules, or internal dependencies inside of your application are linking correctly when it's installed, and they are compatible with the platform and with the Python version that they are running. Yeah, that's tricky, right? And then, Mateusz?
Yeah, and there is the input parsing. So, of course, you want to support all the different common way of interacting with your CLI, and you need to remember that maybe if there is the wrong way around, like if someone provides the inputs in a form you don't accept it, you give a user a nice error message. And there are also help. You need a help to tell your users how to can use your API, your CLI. And then you need to think about the user experience. So you want the users to be delighted about using your CLI. You want them to be happy that they use your CLI. So you want auto-completion. I mean, what CLI does not need auto-completion? It really needs it. And then pretty printing. Of course, if you have an error message, if you just want to let the users know that something happened, you probably want to show emojis, show nice colors. You're a bit fast with slides.
Sorry.
And no worries. And then finally, like this list could go on and on. But finally, you also need to think about application logic. And I could continue without mentioning application logic for a long time, because there are so many things you need to think about. And then again, going back to the how the Python itself may look like on your user machine, or even maybe yours machine, it may look like the picture on the right side. So hopefully there's a lot of the stuff is the same between the many CLIs, and hopefully we could automate this and not build it every time over and over again. Are there tools for this? Well, yes, there are tools for this. And those are the new cool kids on the block, UV and Typer. Both are kind of recently there, but they've been for some but they are they're very accepted by community. They're amazing. They're very nice to use. So if we go into UV first, so we'll talk about what the UV is, and it's been done by Astral.sh. You may know them from RAF, the auto-formatted linter, and from the docs, we see the headline is extremely fast Python package and project manager written in Rust. And the extremely fast will be repeated a couple of times. We'll mention that it's fast a couple of times. And the reason why I mention it will become, it will make sense. But you'll hear us just saying a couple of more times before we actually say why it's important. Other than it's just nice to have. So UV itself. It's supposed to be one tool to rule them all: environments, dependency management, and building and publishing. So all of the tools, all of the tooling about like how to get your Python environment right, how to install the right libraries on the right platform, and also delivering it to your user. Hopefully, it can be covered by one tool, and UV can do that. Then you get cross-platform locked consistent environments. Basically, there's a log file for different platforms. You can install it via pip and package and standalone. I'm talking about UV, so you can install it either standalone or from pip. It has amazing end user and developer experience. It's really nice to use it. And again, what I already said before, we'll say it a couple of times, it's lightning fast. Yeah, there are some benchmarks that you can take a look, but it's really, really fast. And I hopefully won't say fast more times. I think Krzysztof will, but UV installation is relatively easy. You just can curl it and install it via Sage. You can also, of course, view what's the install script is doing. As we mentioned, there are plenty of other ways, but this is a way, an easy one. And interestingly, it seems that the UV is faster when we install it via install.sh versus the pip. It's could be a fun side challenge for the viewers to figure out why.
Yeah, if you're into performance profiling, this is a side quest for you. Figure out why it's faster if you install it this way than with pip.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, that's it. We have a UV now. So what we can do with UV? We can start our project. And Krzysztof will show us how to start our project.
So as with many other dependency or package managers, you might expect that UV has an init command, and it indeed does. So for our memer project here, so a CLI to create memes again, we'll just use the most basic example. And if you'd like to play around with UV, it has amazing docs and also amazing CLI interface. So if you would say help instead of name here, you would see that init has a bunch of options. You can already bootstrap your entire Python project as a library or as a module to distribute. It does a lot. You can initialize a build system for your project. We did that in the background, but here we'll stick to the basic example. So we initialize a project called memer, and it creates a basic folder structure for us. So basically it creates a README file with some templates and just an entry point and a PyProject toml file. And if you ever used Poetry or really any other tools, you might already be familiar with PyProject. It's a settings file for where you can aggregate quite a lot of settings to avoid creating multiple additional files in a repository. So this is the most basic UV project that we have right now. And let's just run it. And you might be confused right now. Why do we run it? We didn't even consider what Python do we have. Do we even have Python on our machine? Have we created a virtual environment? There is quite a lot of things that are best practices to check before you actually start running stuff with Python or bootstrapping a dev environment. But with UV, the cool thing is that it will check whether you have some Python installed. If Python version is not locked, it will just use whatever you have. I had 3.12 on my machine when I run it, and it will create a virtual environment in your project automatically. And also it will check if you would already have logged dependencies, but I'm going a bit to the upfront with our presentation. It would actually check and relog all of the dependencies, make sure that you run everything that you expect to run. And it will just run your script. So right now it's just printing hello. And again, as Mateusz said, that is fast already multiple times. All of that took, so basically creating virtual environment, making sure that everything is prepared to run our basic script. It took under 200 milliseconds. And the cool thing is that, you will see this happening because UV has such an aggressive cache that right now it's not that important, but imagine if you would have multiple packages running on a pipeline or something. Okay, but I'm going too fast to the future.
Yeah, but maybe okay. If there is one thing I wanted to also highlight here. So Krzysztof mentioned that we don't have a Python version pinned at this point, but you can pin it, and it's important that that you can do this, because then when you deliver it with a pinned Python version, UV will also ensure that this same version will be used, the Python that you pin it. So basically, you have an option to pin it. We just didn't do it yet at this point.
We will talk about distribution more towards the end of the presentation, but in case you have a specific version required in your project and pinned in the dependency of your project, then UV will also make sure that it runs on your user's machine. But we are going a bit too far into the future. Let's first add typer as our dependency. We already said we will use typer. I will talk about it in a second. But first, let's add it as a dependency. Again, it uses the same Python version we already have in our virtual environment. It installed 8 packages because typer has some dependency tree of its own. And in total, it took 4 seconds. And this is a key feature in UV. If you run it multiple times on your machine, even as a user, if you install stuff that already have some dependencies that you have used in the past, you will see that it has extremely aggressive cache. And this is actually the words they use in the documentation, that it will reuse a lot, that whatever it can reuse, it will reuse. And with cache, it would take much faster. And this is something that, again, it's kind of a rolling joke. We are repeating it way too often. But if you actually do it, if you run it on your machine, I was thinking that it was some runtime error. It didn't do anything, but it actually completed installations, resolving dependency trees, locking and installing dependencies so fast that I was thinking, yeah, it must be an error. Okay, done talking about performance. Let's talk about typer. So typer is a library. It's an open source project, of course, started by Tian Golo, Sebastian Ramirez. You might know this guy from Fast API, Asyncer, and many other cool projects. And according to, again, the documentation, it's a library for building applications, CLI applications that both users and developers will love. And this is crucial, and we will show it. We are going into the code very soon. We will show it in a second. That is based very heavily on type hinting in Python, which is anyway a best practice. So before we jump into the code, I promised last theory slide here. Basically, for your developers, typer provides quite a lot of boilerplate heavy lifting. You will not have to write repeatable codes to parse your inputs and so on, to make some nice prints for your users. And it supports modern coding patterns. And this is, by that, we mean that it's very easy to integrate typer without modifying your existing code. You can use it with decorators. It has nice dependency injection. And basically, because of that, you don't have to influence what you already have a lot to wrap a CLI tool around your modules. So your business logic doesn't have to change. And for your users, as I already mentioned, and Mateusz, I think also in the beginning of the presentation, we wanted to have auto-completion. Typer delivers you this auto-completion, auto-generated docs and help text out of the box. You don't have to write all of this code and then make sure that your CLI looks the same way as the other team's CLI so the users don't go crazy. If you use Typer, you will have a uniform and very elegant, and I will demo it in the future in a few minutes. Very, very nice interface that will be uniform across your modules. So with that, Mateusz, would you like to talk about our first command?
So what we started with when we run UV init, we got a file that looks like this. It was a hello.py. We'll rename it to mimer.py, but essentially the stuff is the same inside. They look like this. So what will be the first step? The first step is import Typer. So let's import Typer. Well, we'll need to do something with it. So we create an app. What is an app in Typer? App in Typer is a thing that will contain information about what commands do you have. So like sort of like a container for them. So it will know that inside the app you have those commands and some settings. But for now, we actually don't need anything else than just creating it, instantializing it, and that's it. And the next step, maybe one more I forgot to mention. Instead of running main, in the last line, we also switched to app. So this is the main entry point as well for our application. And then we just add app.command. So we add the command decorator and now Typer app. So the app knows about the command now. So it knows that there is a command main. Actually, that's it. We have our first command. This is actually valid command for Typer, for our CLI. We already have our first CLI with one command. So we can actually run it now. And again, like we use UV run. So the UV run ensures that we get the right Python version, but it would be similar. You could run it with Python, mimer.py, but we can run it with UV to make sure that we get the right environment. And we will run the help command. And you see, that's the output. So the first one is what we entered into the command line, and the rest is what is the output from Typer. So we already have some options. We already have nice feedback to the user that what can they do with it. If it would remove help, it would run, but it would just run the main one. Why doesn't have any arguments yet so far? Because we just have one main command. We don't need to provide anything else. And that's essentially all the information we need to start developing our Mimer CLI. So let's get back to the Mimer. So what we want to do with Mimer, we want to actually create a command called create, which will actually create the memes. So in the Mimer, we want to create the memes, and you can see the signature here. So we need to provide some arguments, and as an output, we would like to create a meme. So there's no output itself from the command, but we have some arguments with a certain types. And we also register it as a command again. And hopefully that will give us something more if we run it. So if you again run the help option, okay, now you see we have a mandatory argument, template name, and bunch of options with some help text already, which is interesting. How does it know that the text is text and the path is path? In the previous slides, we simply use the type hint. So because we provided that the type of template name is string, the Typer now knows that this should be text, but the output path was path, so it's a path now. And this is already pretty cool. Like this is nice, but it can be even nicer. And Krzysztof, show us how to add some more information for the user, please.
Yeah, so let's improve it a little bit. But before we do, I want you to notice one thing, that we are not actually writing any functional code right now. We are focusing only on the function definition and the decorator right now. So if you use and if you obey by those type hinting mechanism and you just decorate your existing method, you can wrap your existing function or create a simple wrapper for your logic in Typer without really writing any code. So all of this stuff that you see here, all of that generated nice printout for the user, it's out of the box created for you. So yeah. Let's, as Mateusz said, let's improve it a little bit. Right now, we will need a little bit more space for that. And we will use, instead of a regular type hint as Mateusz had, either string or none, we will use a Python concept called annotated types. And if you never saw it before, annotated type is just the same type, so it will still be a string, but it will have some additional, let's say, metadata to it, right? And Typer can take advantage of this kind of type annotations. So it will be, template name will be a string annotated that it's a Typer option. And when Typer processes that, it will see that it's an option to our command line. So basically, a full form would be template name. We can give it a short name, -n in this case, and a help message that the users would see. And from Python's point of view, template name is still a string. It just has this type annotation coming from Typer.
Some metadata associated with it, basically.
Yeah. And the last thing that we might want to do, and you should do anyway, just like with types in Python, is to create a docstring for your method. And this will be a super simple docstring. We say that the create command creates a meme using specified templated text options. And of course, for those text options, we just add a bunch more arguments, as Mateusz already mentioned in the past. So right now, with this type annotations, we have a really nice printout showing us all of the options with the help text, which one is required, all of the short forms to use those options. And keep in mind, with Typer out of the box, we also have autocompletion, so you don't have to type all of that. You can just type -t, and providing you have installed autocompletion, hit tab, it autocompletes template name. So that's already pretty cool. But right now, I think with all of this stuff, again, notice we didn't really write any functional code. We wrote, we have written a short, let's say, extensions to our method signature. We can actually focus on writing our functional code.
Yeah, so all the stuff that was pass will now get replaced by the actual code that creates memes. And yeah, this little maneuver is going to cost us a couple of commits. But yeah, let's say we've done it. We implemented some things. So now it's actually the meme time. By the way, if you want to, you can take a look at the source code of the memer. So it's available on GitHub. So you can actually just take a look at it and see what let's say the business logic or the meme logic is inside. But now we are actually, like, assuming that we completed it, and we did, we can actually create the memes. So the first thing, assuming that you have UV installed, you need to install our CLI. And now this is the user distribution part. So of course, we could have uploaded it to PyPy for you to be able to just do like pip installer. But for many things, and also in our case, we just didn't do it. We just wanted to have it stored in our GitHub. So we'll say, okay, UV, install from GitHub, and that's why there is from, and there's a git plus address, a tool called memer. So there's the repo address and the name of the package. Now I skipped one thing. What does it mean UV tool install? Now, instead of, we don't want to install it as a project that we can like interact with, like add dependencies. Now we are in the user mode. So we now just want to install a tool that will behave like a CLI. So we don't need to, so we can use it from anywhere in our computer. Anywhere you open terminal, you type memer, you wanna be able to create meme. So that's what UV tool install does. So UV tool will install this memer as a package that's available anywhere in your command line. So you can just type memer and not even know at this point that this is Python. So you installed memer, it will be installed and it will have the right Python version, but you don't even know. If you're not interested, you won't even know that's Python. Okay, but we already have memer. What do we do next? Well, we are not yet creating memes, but we're almost there. So we run memer templates pull defaults. What it is? So we were implementing a command called create, but it's now we have memer templates. Well, the thing is about the apps that I showed you before, the app that registered the commands, you can actually make a more complex CLIs built out of a smaller CLIs, smaller Typer applications. So in this sense, our memer CLI is actually composed of two things. There is the memer create, which creates the memes, but we also have memer templates, which is a standalone application. And for both of us working on the same project, it was nice to have like completely separated applications. where we can implement like other subcommands and so on. And then simply at one point, the main file, we just integrate them together as one CLI, but technically there are standalone applications that just come together as a Mimer. So Mimer templates pool will just default will just pull. It's an application to interact with templates. The meme templates, it will just pull the default templates that we prepared. And then finally is actually the moment where we can create the meme. So Mimer create, again, the create sub-application, and then you provide the template's name, this little maneuver, and then you provide a bottom text. It's going to cost us a couple of commits. So the meme you've seen before, actually, like the previous slide meme, this is a meme that we created already with Mimer, as actually all of the memes inside this presentation were created with Mimer. This slide also gives you the link to our GitHub, so feel free to go and take a look. You will not see this many commits, though, with Watch the History. But it wasn't actually the 1,337 commits. It was a little bit less.
Okay, but I would like to add one thing. That's what we want you to take away from it is not that Mimer is cool. Mimer is just an excuse to show you the cool tools that are really cool in this presentation, not Mimer itself. So the first comment shows you that during the distribution, again, Mateusz said, you don't have to think about what Python version your users will run or what dependencies they already have. You don't have to think about the platform and how to add Mimer to path on this platform so they can use it from anywhere, because UV tool install will do all of this for you. Then on the second line, what we want you to take away from it is that you can independently develop multiple functionalities of your application and connects them on the level of the main entry point file, right? So templates, create can be completely different CLIs, but from your user's point of view, when you import typer to another typer application, it will actually combine them and use them smoothly as one application. So just a quick summary.
Yeah, and I think this is the time for a demo. So let's take a look. Not wrap up yet.
Yeah, let's. I mean, I will say one thing before we jump into the demo. Again, that Mimer is not a complete project. It's just an excuse to talk about cool ways to create your CLIs, and we hope that we inspired you a little bit to try UV and typer out. And this is a short summary of how functional Mimer currently is. So if you have some free time and you would like to experiment, this is a sandbox project. Just feel free to fork it, go crazy, just develop it further, because it's far from being complete and functional.
Also, feel free to create issues on GitHub. You can also add pull requests. We're very happy to for you to just take a look at it. Actually, now since we're talking about the wrap up anyway, I know you're already showing the screen, and probably everyone is looking at the screen now. But just one thing I wanted to mention is that inside the repo, you will see many more things. Like, we didn't show all of the things here in the presentation because of time, but we tried to show you, like, we tried to use it as a once learning project for us, twice a place where we can, like, you can take a look at how different typer and typer features come together. There's plenty more that makes the life of developer and user much nicer. So just feel free to look and explore for even more information on typer and UV, because we covered really just a little bit, just covered enough for you to go into documentation, go into source code, and understand what's going on there.
Yeah, so basically, as I mentioned, the documentation is amazing for both of those modules. You can easily find it. Just go explore. Highly recommend it. But coming to the demo, very quickly, I'll show you what we meant by nice user experience. So I have installed Mimer as a tool on my dev container here. So as you can see, I can run it. Even if it's a container, I have no idea how the path variable looks like. I can already run it as Mimer, and with Mimer help, I get this nice help message. And also every subcommand, so Mimer create would also have a help message. So the user can really understand what is required and what the CLI is doing, but this is just the tip of the iceberg, because, for instance, we mentioned that you have auto-completion, right? So I have already installed auto-completion with this option that you see here. And what I can do is say Mimer create, and if I just start typing -t, it should autocomplete of course, the demo effect. Okay, I have two options that start with T. So if I go TE, I have template name, right?
And
if I run it,
question from me. So you're probably not very surprised by this question, but what would have happened if I would make a typo?
I'm about to show it, but first I wanted to show that the error message you would get, for instance, if you provide an option, but you don't provide a value for this option. So keep in mind, we didn't write any of this logic, any of those coloring boxes, this nice wrapping that you see around here. It's all coming from the library itself. So yeah, obviously the template name requires an argument. But what if, as Mateusz said, I would write template name instead of a template name? It would also notice that, hey, this looks like a typo. Because I have auto-completion, it knows what options I should have, and it can auto-correct me and say, yeah, it's like you made the typo. How about you correct it, instead of me trying to go sign by sign and figure out what I did wrong. So again, this is tip of the iceberg. It's really powerful tool, and together with UV, it really creates a powerful suite of tools that you can use to not focus on all of this crap of this formatting and so on, but actually focus on the fun stuff and the stuff that, if you do it in a corporate world, earns money or delivers business value, right? So with that,
but if you're not thinking about corporates, but it's just also amazing experience for you as a developer. So for anyone who listens and is a developer, it's just nice. It just takes away a lot of headaches.
Yeah. So with that, just a short fun example. This is what Mateusz was showing. We have some templates for our memes. Those are the default templates. And I can just quickly create a meme. Of course, I prepared this prompt, so I shouldn't type it when you're watching. And yeah, I hope this live demo was a good idea. It didn't crash too badly. But again, this project is far from being complete. If you want to explore with us, go crazy with it. And that's basically the wrap up. So, Mateusz?
Yeah, so the main message that we repeated probably already a couple of times, that UV and Type are just really cool tools to work. They work together pretty well for you, for a developer, but also for your users. And thanks a lot for your attention. That was Mimer, that was Krzysztof Wilczyński, and me, Mateusz Zaremba. Thank you for your attention. We would love if you would leave a feedback. So once again, asking for your feedback. I've been told that you have a ways to do that. We also have a QR code that should get you to a page with feedback, and also this meme that you just seen a second ago was also created with Muir. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you guys for the presentation. I have one question from the audience. Does the typer have dependency injection? And it's similar to the one that is in Fast API. Same person behind the project, right?
Yeah. Krzysztof, or should I go?
You can take it if you want.
I think you said that there is dependency injection. If I remember correctly, there is. Like it feels similar in many shapes to Typer to Fast API. So I do believe it does.
Yeah, the interface for you is basically the same. So I would imagine, but I'm not prepared to show it right now in the code.
Okay, guys, thanks a lot for this presentation and for introducing like these two tools. Like UV is very fast, right? So the performance comparisons are blasting. Anyway, are we going to see you tomorrow on the live day on site?
Unfortunately, not me. Krzysztof will be there. Unfortunately,
okay.
I'm not in Poland right now, so unfortunately I can't come. Although I would love to, but Krzysztof will be there.
All right. So see you tomorrow, Krzysztof. See you next time, Mateusz, and thank you guys for the presentation.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Thank you.